Cowboys have lost 5 of their last 6. They need to win just to stay in shouting distance of the NFC East, the worst division in football. Brandon, what do you want to see from Lamar and the Ravens tonight to have faith in them the rest of the way, assuming you haven't already lost faith in them?
Yeah, well, what I want to see is Greg Roman and the Ravens trust their quarterback. That's what I want to see. I want to see Greg open it up for his quarterback on first down. There's 2 teams in the National Football League that don't trust their quarterback. That is the Cleveland Browns. They're running it more than 64% of the time on first down. And then sitting at number 2 is the Baltimore Ravens at 64% of the time. So I need to see Greg open it up. This is the week to get it done. We keep talking about Lamar Jackson. Is he a franchise quarterback? Can he throw the ball? Yes, he can if you build the right offense around him. Now it's time to take a step forward with our philosophy and our approach to offense. Greg Roman is phenomenal at putting together a running game plan for his team. But the passing game, not so much. Go back to Colin Kaepernick when he was in San Francisco. They started off hot. No one can stop them in the NFL. I played against those teams. And then all of a sudden, in all those major categories, from play action to run yards per attempt, quarterbacks running attempts and yards per attempt went down, 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 down. So to me, I've been saying it all year, it's less about Lamar Jackson, more about Greg. I need to see this offensive coordinator open it up on first down. This is the week to do it. The Dallas Cowboys are giving up over 260 yards to their opposing quarterback. Right. So get it done right now.
So if there was ever a week to, I don't want to say experiment, but to try it out, this would be the week to try to get back on track after 3 straight losses. Wilds, I have a confession to make that I think is going to shock you.
Okay, here we go.
As a Chiefs fan, I'm still a little afraid of Baltimore. I know Lamar's never beaten Mahomes. I know the Chiefs killed him early this year. But if I'm looking ahead to the postseason and I say, if the Chiefs play a good game, not if the Chiefs don't implode, if they play an A-level game, what is the list of teams that can beat them? It is very, very short. But on that list is Baltimore playing their best game. Baltimore's best still frightens me and should frighten the entire league. Now, what the entire league should take solace is, you haven't seen it since week 1. Week 1 was against Cleveland, actually, was the last time Lamar Jackson had a kick-ass game. We're in week 13, Tuesday night of week 13, and we haven't seen MVP-level Lamar in 3 months. So if there was ever a day to get back on track, it's today. And for Baltimore, I think they need to focus as far as big picture on trying to fix some of the things Brandon's talking about. And then little picture, they sure as hell better win, because if they lose, they wake up tomorrow morning in 10th place in the conference behind the Patriots. So Wilds, I think if they are still going to be considered contenders, I think they need to win with style points. If they are still going to be a playoff team, they need to win by any means necessary.
Playoffs?
Hey, don't you think Lamar has a responsibility, Brandon, to be like, hey, I'm the reigning MVP. Let me cook. I know we got Russ's dominated the let Russ cook hashtag, but why can't Lamar go up and be like, I've got some juice in the league. I'm the MVP. And here's 2 stats. This is what if I was Lamar Jackson, I'd be like, hey, there's only one other quarterback who has played more than 10 games and has thrown the ball less than me. You know who that is? It's Taysom Hill. I wouldn't be that aggressive in the meeting. I would be nicer. I would be like, oh, all right. Yeah. And here's the other thing. Hey, remember we ran the longest pass play of the year last week and Trace McSorley threw it? So, let me do that stuff. Granted, the Trace thing was a missed tackle and a long yak. But still, if I'm Lamar, I'm not a rookie QB. I'm the reigning MVP. So I think he should take the ball, figuratively, and say, hey, I want to throw it. Do you think that's he should do that?
100% Wilds, but Lamar Jackson is not that type of guy that's going to come in and be disruptive. Now, do I think he'll communicate appropriately? 100%. Lamar Jackson's the type of guy like, look, if you whatever you call, I'm gonna try to make work. But I will say this: there's a lot of turmoil inside that locker room. We don't hear about it because they're a phenomenal organization.
Oh, that's interesting.
Phenomenal organizations. The Patriots, you have the Saints, you have the Baltimore Ravens, you have the Pittsburgh Steelers. You don't really hear what's going on internally, but every team has some stuff. Coaching staffs have some stuff. Players have some stuff. Or ownership has some stuff. So I truly believe the conversations that they've been having the last couple of weeks, maybe even the last month or two, could potentially get this team back on track, because that's what the good teams do. They hold each other accountable internally. They don't let things leak out, and then they figure out a way to get back on track. One of the ways is what you're talking about, Wild. Lamar Jackson, he's not the type of guy that's going to say, look, this is what I absolutely need, but he is the type of guy that's going to say, look, man, we got to figure this out because teams are calling out our plays. Remember that? A couple weeks ago, he said that.
Oh, yeah.
They know what we're about to do. So they need to figure this out.
Well, and for Lamar, it's not just the playoffs and what his statistical resume is going to look like for this year that's on the line. Just to piggyback off Wild's point from last segment, Lamar's also 26 days away from being extension eligible. Ooh. And while what he did last year guarantees he's getting an extension, the bigger question is, Brandon just mentioned Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick once upon a time got what appeared to be a massive extension, but a lot of it was fake money, was non-guaranteed money, option years on the back end that he ended up never being able to fully realize. And if you're Lamar, you do understand that there are two different types of quarterback extensions. Quarterback extensions like the one Derek Carr signed, which he's actually going to see most of the money of, but where the Raiders had outs early on, or quarterback extensions like the one Deshaun Watson just signed, where the Texans would never want to, but they are tied to him through hell or high water. And so it's Baker, it's Josh Allen, and it's Lamar, who are all extension eligible here in about a month. And I think for all of those teams, it's going to be an interesting discussion, Jenna. For the Ravens, they'll obviously give him one, but what does it look like? Go ahead, Brandon, I'm sorry.
Right.
Go ahead, Brandon.
And I will say this. I don't have these conversations with Lamar's mom or Lamar. I barely talk to him. I talk to him maybe once or twice an off season. And I can assure you this. There's no way, the way they think, that they're going to sign on that dotted line if those numbers aren't real. Lamar is savvy and he's super smart, and that's why I stand on the table for him, because there's some guys that don't have high IQ, football IQ. This is a guy who is super intelligent. He has all the tangibles that you need to be the face of a franchise for 10-plus years. He just needs the pieces around him to make sense. Wide receivers and an offensive coordinator can develop the passing game.
All right, let's move on now. Played a little drawing a blank. So following Sunday's all-out blitz disaster, the Jets went ahead and fired defensive coordinator Greg Williams yesterday, just 4 games before the end of the season because of that last play right there. Adam Gase, who we should mention still has his job as head coach of the 0-12 Jets, said yesterday it was his call. So, Brandon, the Jets' decision to fire defensive coordinator Greg with 2 Gs Williams was blank.
Yeah, Jenna, when I saw this question, the first thing that came to my mind was awkward. It was awkward because we know that at the end of this year, this is going to be a vacant position. So in my mind, it's like, what are we doing here? So we're letting go of a defensive coordinator when we know the head coach is going to be let go in a couple weeks. And then my buddy Wilds gave me some more news. He said, Brandon, I saw that your answer is awkward. Do you know that Greg Williams' son is still on staff, Blake, as an assistant? That is super awkward. So we need to change my answer to awkward to super awkward. You just fired my dad, and now you kept me on the staff too? It's just awkward all around. Thanks for that, Wilds.
So I think it's super nice. Nice to Greg Williams. Here's what you don't want on your resume. 3 0-16 teams in NFL history. You were the defensive coordinator for 2 of them. He already was the D coordinator
No
for the
way.
0-16 Browns.
No way.
You're going to be the D coordinator for the 0-16 Jets as well? Nope, he's out of there. So it's kind of a resume saver. So I think it was nice of him. I think he walks into Gase's office. He's like, thank God, man. I've been trying to get out of here for a month. You did me a favor. So I think it was super nice, Wilds.
Change my answer. Change my answer. I need that answer too. That is right.
Nick, I'm not a very savvy bettor. I don't make a lot of money when I bet. It's mostly because I like long shots. And there's one long shot on the board, and I would bet it. Adam Gase comes back. The way that this was framed, that Adam